This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update video for August 24th, 7:30 p.m. Here's a weather map from August 21st, 1992 as Tropical Storm Andrew was north of Puerto Rico here and running into its crossroads between whether it would be shredded by a trough heading off to the east or would it develop and head back toward the west due to a high pressure ridge developing over New York City. We had a 1023 millibar high over New York, and that was strengthening, and it would eventually push Hurricane Andrew into South Florida, and we had a stalled out front in the southeast. And that opened the door for Hurricane Andrew to develop and rapidly strengthen as it moved just south of due west into South Florida as a Category 5 hurricane. Now, earlier today, Kane Tracker posted a damage shot on the Hurricane City's message board, canetalk.com. And this is a typical example of what happened in South Dade during Hurricane Andrew. And notice the obliterated house here on the corner of this cul-de-sac. And generally houses that are facing open areas. Notice the parking lot over here. That's an area where winds can accelerate and slam into buildings. And that's what happened in Hurricane Andrew. A lot of homes that were on the corner of properties or exposed to open areas were very heavily damaged by winds up to 150 miles an hour. Now, most of these houses were affected by Category 4 winds here, as Andrew was a Category 5, but that was basically over Biscayne Bay. By the time it got on shore, the winds got down to Category 4 status. So most of these people had Category 4 winds, and that's the type of damage you would expect from a Category 4 hurricane. Well, luckily, nothing like that is going on right now. Let's take a look at what's happening. We have Danielle out there. Now, this was a hurricane earlier this morning, and it weakened during the day due to southwesterly wind shear. And the official forecast now calls for this to regain hurricane intensity and become a Category 2 hurricane just east of Bermuda here. Now, the track has shifted a little bit to the west, and that's because of the weakness of Danielle. The stronger the system is, the more poleward it tends to go. And now that it's weakened a little bit, it's going to shift a little bit to the west before it takes that northerly turn. Here are the models. Interestingly, the GFDL model, the green model here, is indicating this could get up near Category 4 status, despite the fact that it's weakened a little bit today, and it could pass very close to Bermuda, maybe within 150 miles. Now, the official forecast, the white here, as well as the Euro model, are further off to the right here by about 200 miles or so to the east of Bermuda, and I'll show you a close-up graphic from the HurTrack program in just a minute. Now, we also have Invest 96L out in the East Atlantic, and the models have shifted a little bit south on this. Now, that's not to say it's going to come towards the United States, but the indications are still that this is going to eventually follow in the tracks of Danielle into the North Atlantic, but we will have to watch it closely. And again, most of the models indicating maybe Category 1 status over here around 50 degrees west. So we'll keep an eye on that for you as well. All right, here is the shot of what will be Hurricane Danielle once again. This is going out to the 29th, which is Sunday, in the morning hours. And you see they have this up to 110 miles an hour in the official forecast. And its closest approach here is about 172 nautical miles to the east of Bermuda as it's moving due north. So the system's going to wobble like this and basically go north and then eventually start heading to the northeast. Now, if this track pans out, it's going to be good for Bermuda. They're going to have probably good weather. Some northerly winds gusting up to tropical storm force, but that should be about it. So this will be the second bullet that Bermuda has dodged this year, with Colin being the other one. So, so far so good for Bermuda. We'll see if this track holds out. Well, we'll watch for any westerly shifts in the track. Now, this is an interesting image. This is from Sims, and this is showing what happened as the day wore on today. You'll see at the beginning here, there is a nice eye on this thing, and then all of a sudden, as the day goes on, this thing is just shredded by southwesterly wind shear and dry air, which got pulled into the system. And you'll notice as the day goes on, the center becomes less and less visible here on this shot, as all the convection is blown off to the east of the center of circulation. But then late in the day here, you see a little bit of a comeback on the system, and that's where we're at right now. The system is getting a little bit stronger again, but notice again here what happened during the day. This thing completely got obliterated by southwesterly wind shear. Here's the floater on our system, the latest floater image, and you can see it's making a comeback here. All the convection's blowing back up, and we expect that eye, the center of circulation, will be co-located within this cloud mass here, and this will go ahead and regain hurricane status. Here's an East Atlantic shot, and here's Earl right behind Danielle. Let's go ahead and circle Earl here, and this is getting nicely organized here. We have some feeder bands coming in here, a little bit of banding to the north. There's a little bit of dry air being pulled into this system, but overall, it looks like Earl's going to go ahead and develop. And then we have another wave out here. This is the one I mentioned in the last update that weakened a little bit, but this is also making a comeback, so this too will come out probably by the weekend here, and we'll have another system to keep an eye on behind Earl. So the Cape Verde season is definitely active right now. All right, let's take a look at the water vapor loop of the Atlantic Basin. And you can see that we have an upper level low just to the north of Danielle here spinning around. And this is what's causing a little bit of the southwesterly wind shear. Notice all this dry air out in front of it too. And you'd like to see banding and moisture all the way around a system, not just on one side. But this is kind of a lopsided system. You notice the west of 50, it's all dry air. So this system is not in the ideal circumstances right now. But as this moves off to the northwest, it might find itself in a much more favorable environment up in this area here. Elsewhere, there's not a whole heck of a lot to talk about. Again, we have Earl out here to keep an eye on. We got a long way to watch that. Now, one more thing I want to show you on the HurtTrack program, and that is the best performing model. This is the AEMI, which is the National Weather Service ensemble model that has additional information put into it for intensity correction rather. That's the AEMI model, and it's off by about 35 miles at 4 days. And this takes it about maybe 100 to 150 miles east of Bermuda, and then it goes northwest, and then it goes northeast later in the period and goes south of the Nova Scotia, Newfoundland area. So if this track pans out, we'll be in good shape if the AEM is correct. And again, this is the best performing model, 35 miles off. Well, that's it for now. We'll be back with another update tomorrow night on this situation. I've had a very busy schedule. Apologize for the late updates. Doing the best I can. We'll see what happens over the weekend, and we'll continue to track Danielle and potential Earl coming up here. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.